It's a new verb.
Yeah.
Go living.
Yes, we're
living.
go live.
We're living.
Good morning. Welcome to Greencow. It's going to be a great day.
It's going to be a great week. It's supposed to be in the 70s this entire week.
Awesome.
And then in the 50s and rainy next week. But it's going to be in the 70s all of this week.
And it's Mindset Monday.
It is Mindset Monday.
You know, I think you'll find on the web a lot of resources for Mindset Monday, which is cool. We support them all. The bottom line is it's a great thing to think about at the beginning of your work week. So we bring you Mindset
people
Monday.
Are like, it's so funny when I go and find those gifts for Mindset Monday that I put on all of our reminder posts. There's so many of them that are so grouchy, and a lot of them are funny, but they're grouchy, and I just don't think if you're really that unhappy about a beginning of a week, what does that say to you? Mark says, good morning and happy Easter Monday. What is Easter Monday?
It's the day after Easter Sunday.
I sort of remember when I was a kid that we used to get Easter Monday off. Is that a thing? Was that a thing? Or did I just making that up? Okay.
I think you just made it up.
Maybe my parents just didn't make me go to school. That could have been a possibility.
Yeah, I suppose it's possible.
So happy day after Easter to everybody. I hope you guys had a fun and enjoyable Easter. It certainly was a beautiful day. We were outside for most of it, so that was really nice. We just did a little bit of walking. We went to some places and did some walking, and we went to the Shrine of Christ Passion. It was the first time I've actually been there.
Really?
I had worked with some people who were involved with that before in a nonprofit capacity, but I actually hadn't been there. And then we had a bonfire, which was really nice. So let us know what you guys did for Easter and all of that. We had an Easter egg hunt on Saturday. There's a family out in Walkerton that actually hosted that. That was really nice and fun.
We had one of those at our house.
Oh, did you? See, we usually have one at our house, but we didn't have one at our house this year. The kids had already OD'd on candy, so it's like, not so much. I caught one of them out in jelly beans already this morning before school. Put those back.
Yeah.
Well, never mind.
I don't know if Brandon is here yet, but if you are, happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday, Brandon. Mark said Easter Monday is when you were in a candy food coma from the weekend. And that's true, yeah. I did really well. So we went to that place in Crown Point, Fahrenheit 21 to 11, something like that. There's twos and there's ones. And I did really well because I had a salad, which was actually really good. But it's one of those places that keeps bringing bread to your table. And I'm like, stop doing that. And like, the people you're with ask for more bread. And you're like, no. So that's an actual demonstration of my internal struggle there. I think I pantomimed that well for you.
Wow.
So you had an Easter egg hunt at your house.
We did.
You didn't invite me.
No.
I would have got those eggs.
Well, we had, I think, 170 eggs hid.
Yeah. Did you actually hide them, or did you just put them everywhere?
Both.
Well, did the hidden ones have extra cool stuff in them?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
One of them had a $50 bill in it.
Oh, nice. Now it didn't matter that you didn't invite me.
I didn't put it in there. What did I do with my coffee? I made coffee today.
Well, I don't know. You lost it.
Bummer.
So, yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't care.
No bread, Mark. All right, so let us know what you guys did for Easter, if you had some fun things happening. I don't really go crazy with gifts for Easter. I know some people make it like a second Christmas kind of thing. I don't really. My kids each get a little Easter basket. They usually get a couple of outfits and then a couple and some candy and one toy. And both of my little kids, actually all three of my kids, even my big kid, I really struggled because I don't know if it was stimulus checks or the fact that last year we didn't really get to have an Easter or what was going on, but the stores had nothing at all by
Really?
Friday. Yeah, like they were like literally the boxes were gone.
Wow.
So I was really challenged there because, of course, I waited till the last minute. But I was able to find a couple of things for all of my kids. I looked really hard. It wasn't expensive things, but I was able to find something they each really, really loved. And it's just a little thing, nothing more than like $10 for each kid. But they really liked it. So I felt like I did a good mom thing.
Good for you.
So if you are watching this morning, say hi, and let us. I know that Mark, I'm with you. I said your Easter egg hunt had a $50 bill in it. Now I'm mad that I didn't get invited. Come on, I could hunt some eggs for $50.
The granddaughter of our next door neighbor found the $50 bill.
That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Well, I hope she had a good time with that. I think my kids, there were at the Easter egg hunt we went to, there were special prizes. None of my kids found a special prize, and they were feeling kind of bummed about that. And I was like, sometimes we get the special prize, sometimes we don't get the special prize, but it's all good. Good morning, Carol. Good morning, KJ.
Good morning,
if you're
everyone.
watching, please do say hi. Let us know if you have any cool Easter stories to share with us.
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this morning, Easter Monday,
which is apparently a thing,
is our twin granddaughters, they stayed at our house last night, and this morning they left for their new life in Florida.
Nice.
Yeah, they have jobs in a place in Florida, and they're en route.
That's good. You said new life in Florida. I was just about to say, I hope that's not a new life of crime or something.
I kind of hope not. But they're good girls. I'm sure that it'll be a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, let us know what you guys got going on this week. It is Mindset Monday, and today we have a fun topic to talk about with you. We are going to talk about celebrating growth, which is a cool thing to talk about. So we talk about growth mindset a lot on these shows, and the difference between growth mindset and fixed mindset. Whereas growth mindset is the ability to see the things that you go through as growing opportunities, and how we can always be changing and learning and growing, as opposed to fixed mindset, which is I'm just the way I am and everything's going to be the way it is, and there's no opportunities to change that. And I know that when we've talked about this before, some people have come on and recommended different books. There is a book called Growth Mindset out there that I've read some pieces of. There are lots of other books on this topic, and it's called a lot of different things, actually. But yeah. And so today I wanted to talk a little bit about celebrating growth, because one of the things the question that I asked on our description today was like, when was the last time you had an experience when you thought, wow, I really grew in that area? And that's a really cool experience. It's just not
belly talk. Right?
No. And I'm just trying to, oops, I did something here. Okay, there we go. I was trying to see the comments. So I was thinking, like, when was the last time you had an experience where maybe you realized that you reacted differently than you would have in the past, and it was a positive thing? Or you did something. I have those all the time. Yeah, you did something that was really positive, that was a struggle to you, so maybe you said no to the bread. I think I only had
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Well, that's just an example. I did not say no to the bread, but I did order a salad instead of like fettuccine, so that's also
awesome. The thing about salads is it's great to have salads. And I had a salad just Saturday, I guess. And it was from Eduardo's. It was their chicken pesto salad. And it's really good. Mm-hmm. but salads just don't fill you up like bread does.
I don't know. It depends on the salad. Mine was the ahi tuna salad, and like I'm kind of obsessed with raw fish, so it worked for me. But the point was, when was the last time that you had an experience where you thought, "Wow, this definitely demonstrates growth for me"? Like I reacted differently. I did something differently. I made a choice that was a positive choice, and try to think about that moment. Share it if you can in the comments. Do you have a good one?
Well, I don't have necessarily a good one, but I have a whole bunch of little ones that happened recently. And I've been spending a lot of time in the Virtues Project, and things like patience. Patience is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
And learning to listen before you speak.
Mm-hmm.
Those I've noticed consciously. I try to listen to people, even if I'm totally opinionated about what the topic is. I try to let them say what they have to say before I walk all over them.
You're supposed to do that?
Yeah.
I learned something today, guys.
It's being quick to listen and slow to speak.
Mm-hmm. So you've noticed examples of you doing
I
that?
catch myself regularly doing that. Just wait a minute. And don't be formulating your response to them while they're talking. Let them talk and really listen and understand what they're trying to say. And then you can pause. And it's okay to have a pause while you think about your response.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't want to think about your response while they're talking. So I've been intentional about that kind of stuff, and I think it makes a difference.
That's cool. Yeah.
Well, even for you, I used to talk all over you all the time, like I just did. It's not
see
fun.
Myself as doing that more than you do, but
I don't know about that.
My kids, I struggle with that with them.
Oh, we got something.
Yeah, but I do try to work on that with my kids. But it's cool when you notice a thing like that, and maybe you notice yourself being able to handle a situation differently or better than you have before. So I think that's really cool. So Mark has a comment here. Example.
Oh, he had a new experience.
Uh-huh.
So he says, I did something on Friday that stretched me way beyond my comfort zone. I started a YouTube channel, and our first episode was released on Friday. Cool. I like Facebook Live, but YouTube is another beast. Well, you did it, though. That's awesome.
Yeah, you did something that's new and challenging, but hopefully will be rewarding, and I'm sure it will be rewarding, because so many of these things like social media and YouTube and things like that, it really is true that if you do it the right way and you put the time into it and you put the effort into it, you will see rewards from it. It just takes the time. Obviously sometimes we don't see them right away, but if you're consistent with it and you're positive and giving people good information and you're really trying to help people, then you do see the results. Sometimes it can take years, but a lot of times it can take less. It depends on how you do it. But I've not yet seen a person that's been consistent, been positive, been helpful, and not seen a reward from their social media. So yeah.
Cool.
So that's a really cool thing. Yeah, I had some experiences recently too, where I noticed that I was like, wow, this really demonstrates growth. Which is like, I in the past had really struggled with like when there's 50 billion challenges at once, even when they're little. But that's something as like a mom with multiple things going on, and with a mom with a business and kids and all that kind of crazy stuff. And so I actually had an experience recently where I was having a real big kid issue, and then I missed an appointment because of the kid issue. And I had, I also had another problem that I wasn't feeling great about. And in the past, I would have probably reacted more angrily and frustrated, like just getting, and instead I was more just like kind of patient with it. I think, like you said, I was able to solve the first problem without yelling at anyone, and and then just let the meeting know that I'd had something come up that was kind of out of my control and it was urgent and I had to handle it, and then I solved the other problem too, and made sure I was communicating with everybody. So that was positive for me. It's a little example, but I took the moment to think that shows growth.
It's a good example. My question to you is, did it come naturally, or did you consciously think, wait a minute, I have to be patient about this?
Yeah, I had to consciously think about it. The biggest thing that I had to consciously think about was not to let it push me into a everything sucks spiral. That it was, I didn't have to say remind to be patient. It's just like, these are little things. It's not that big of a deal. We're gonna handle it. It's gonna be okay. You don't have to spiral into like, I'm a total failure at life because of
That's good.
2 or 3 things. So that was my example.
I want to
Carol has
Carol has a good comment here. She uses Vimeo because when your video ends, YouTube tags a random, perhaps undesirable political video at the end of yours. I have seen strange stuff like that on YouTube.
You can actually control that. There are some settings for that. Now, I don't know how well they work, but supposedly you do have an option to choose what video comes next or to pick what tag is there. Wow. I haven't played a whole lot with it, so it may not work well. So it's definitely not an expert on it, but
that's great to know.
Yeah, that you can do. So Vimeo and YouTube, Mark's asking, do they get the same kind of SEO? That sounds a little bit like a Nicole question to me. I don't really know the answer to that. So maybe somebody could tag her and see if she can watch this show and provide an answer to this question. So if anybody else though has a growth celebration, no, we're not doing YouTube training. I mean, you can watch my YouTube training about resumes, but I'm not a YouTube trainer. But I think in Brandon, whose birthday it is, as we mentioned, knows a little bit about YouTube too. So if somebody wants to tag those 2 people, Nicole and Brandon, and let them know that people are asking some questions that they might know something about.
Can I be you and do it?
You can be me and do it. But I don't know if it'll actually let you. Oh, now we're doing things. I don't know if it'll let you tag in there. It may or may not. So yeah, anyway, they probably know a little bit more than that. But if anybody else has a growth celebration, yeah. So maybe Mark, I don't know, you can tag them, or Carol and Nicole and Brandon, who may know the answer to that. But if anybody else has a growth moment that they would like to share, I think that'd be cool to throw them in the comments. If you're watching on the replay, you could throw your growth moment in the comments too. But I think one of the things the reason why I wanted to talk about it is I think it's really cool to recognize those moments. Sometimes we don't necessarily slow down enough to see them. Sometimes it's something that hits you right away. Like with your patience and talking thing, you're like, hey, I did that. And with me, I'm like not blowing up at the world. I was like, yeah, that's cool. I handled this much better than I thought. And thanks, Mark. Appreciate that. But yeah, so sometimes we notice those things right away, but sometimes I think we have like little growth moments every day, and we don't necessarily take the time to slow down and recognize what they are. And I think it's important to do that because, as you are working on developing a growth mindset, and I just realized we don't have our banner. It's this the one. Okay, there we go. So I kind of think back to like when you're in school, and I always talk about math because that was my hardest subject. I know it is for many people, and it's also one of those subjects that I think it kind of mimics life in that sometimes you have to complete like chapter 3 before you can go on to chapter 4. Supposedly a lot of subjects are like that, but like in the humanities, not actually. It doesn't really matter if you learned about the Civil War before World War II. I mean, there is sort of a timeline, but you can kind of get something from it either way.
Okay.
But I just remember, when we were in school, and if you're really struggling with something and then finally you get it, and nobody says like good job, or you don't get a star on your paper, or you don't get to like put a little check by your name or whatever it is, like it's a little harder to get excited about going on to the next thing. And I think that's true with.
For me, that was algebra.
Yeah.
Finally got it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Great. For me, it was pre-calculus, and I filled in bubbles on my final left. I already passed.
Really?
There was the one time I did that. I was a senior, and I didn't matter what I got on the final, so I filled in bubbles and I left.
Okay then.
What not to do with Miranda is up next. But I think it's really true, though, that that's the reason we do those things. And yes, I was the extra credit person for sure. Like, I definitely wanted to get my gold stars and all of that. I was definitely I was a very like student-oriented student, except for pre-calculus. Plus, my teacher was kind of a jerk. So, please don't go look up who I had for pre-calculus. But anyway, I think that it is really true. That's why we do that. I was a teacher too. I was a teacher for 10 years. There's a reason why we celebrate people mastering a concept or improving in an area, because it helps get them excited about the next thing. And it's good to look back at everything that you've done, because otherwise it can just kind of look like a mess of, I have so much to learn. I have so much to do. And I think in reality, we're always going to have a lot to learn. We're always going to have a lot to do, but it's still clear that you've been making strides towards something. So taking time to recognize it is important. And if that's part of what I do through my reflections. I know we've talked about like journaling or doing something that's reflective before. Not everybody is a journaler. So sometimes you're going to have that where you do just recognize it right away. Other times, I think doing something like intentional, like journaling, or just...
I'm an intermittent journaler.
Intermittent journaler.
Yeah, there's gaps. But I enjoy looking back, 10, 15, whatever, 20 years, and seeing what my mindset was at that time. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Mark wants to tag my...
Okay, now everybody who's here has to post, what was your favorite class in high school?
Your least favorite.
No, your most favorite.
But sometimes we have more stories about the least favorite.
Okay, never mind.
And who actually took driver's ed like at school? Because I think I was like the last class that did that. They don't even.
I think they had it, but I went to an outside school.
Yeah, I don't think they even offer it anymore now. It's a thing, but.
That must have been really hard on the teachers.
It's one of the most uncomfortable situations. All right. But I would love to hear additional growth moments. I would love to hear additional ways that you try to build recognizing yourself for your growth into your life, into your work, into whatever it is that you do. I know some people, like, they actually chart, like certain steps they want to get to. And when they get to that step, there's a reward or something like that. I've done things like that before. I think that that's helpful and motivational and good. Some people, do other things just to, recognize themselves. And I'd love to hear more about that if that's you. If you haven't said hi yet this morning, please say hi. Let us know that you're here. Tell us about an example of a time that you identified that you had a growth mindset and, feeling good about that.
And it would be great to hear about if you had to consciously develop this thing where you changed your mindset and created a new and better habit. What was that experience like? Was it difficult? Was it rewarding? What was happening at that time? Why did you do it?
And Mark, I know you know a little something about creating habits because you've been working with me on creating better habits as well with some of my money stuff. And so there is some science behind how to create a habit. You know, the bad habits that we get, a lot of times we don't think as consciously about doing them or creating them, but they're formed over you making choices over a long amount of time. Maybe they're not the most conscious choices, maybe we don't sit there and think about like, I absolutely will get a donut every day. But there's the same thing. It's like you're making choices. That's what habit forming is. Yeah, I mean, this is my new habit right here. It's Panera instead of Starbucks, and I've been doing fairly well with that. And I do.
How do you do fairly well with getting coffee at Panera every day
instead of Starbucks?
So the habit changes from Starbucks to Panera.
Because at Starbucks, I was spending approximately $9 a day and also getting food, and the food was unhealthy. Whereas Panera, it is $8 a month, and for unlimited coffee, and I don't get food. So
okay,
yeah. And also, I know that if I drink my coffee, I won't be hungry. And so when early in the morning, I think I'm hungry, and that will encourage me to get like some sort of a snacky thing.
So that's not black coffee.
It's not black coffee.
What is it?
It's just got cream and 2 sugars in
it. Okay.
It's still better than Starbucks, and it's better than having a donut. So I think it's good. But this has been a conscious habit for me because I have to tell myself, 1, don't go to Starbucks, go to Panera, and 2, you don't need anything to eat before you get your coffee. You don't need to get a donut. You don't need to grab any kind of snacky thing.
Good.
Just go get your coffee.
Good. So Mark posted this progression from values to lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's really good. From values to beliefs to choices to habits to lifestyle. And it's a good thing to actually develop in your own life is this progression. First you have to understand what your values are. Mm-hmm.
Do you think now you do the Virtues Project? And by the way, I do want to say that someone did say good morning and said they took drivers out at school. We can't see who you are.
That was my wife, Chrissy.
Oh, was it? Okay, because I am trying to find it and like my thing won't even load.
I found it on my phone.
Oh, so it's because people are on different platforms, which is why I keep doing this and you keep moving the mouse. Okay, so you do work on the Virtues Project, and my question is like, Mark says the first thing you have to do is identify your values. Is that something you choose, or is that something that you're just kind of born with, or is that something that you develop over time, or how does that work?
Yes, the answer to that is yes.
Yes?
You choose them, you develop them over time. Some of them seem to be natural for some people. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, all of the above.
So that's all how you create values. So it's your first step to identify your values. Is that what it is, you think? Or to... Mark, identify or create your values. Is that what we're doing? Oh, if your beliefs align with your values.
Well, I think your beliefs kind of have to.
But I bet you they probably don't for a lot of people.
Well, that could be true too.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of examples now. I don't normally think about this way.
I think sometimes we have beliefs that are not really true. Like
I think we can be influenced to have beliefs that we don't fully embrace or believe.
Yeah.
But they've been pushed on us.
Or sometimes too, I think that you can have beliefs that you don't really like. They're almost subconsciously developed. So
they had to come from somewhere.
They had to come from somewhere. But if you were like, it might not even be something you would want to say out loud that you believe, but in your mind, you're believing something. And so maybe part of that too is identifying, what it is that you're actually believing. You may say that you believe something, but what you're actually believing is not that. For example, you might say you believe that people are basically good, but the way you act is, I'm suspicious of everyone.
Okay.
And so, maybe that's not what you actually believe.
Wow.
Yeah. But I think Mark says many people never put their values on paper. And it's probably true about beliefs also. People don't maybe take the time to really think about.
It shows up in my goals document every year for me. And if you do goals and create a document every year, those things will show up. And if they don't, I think maybe you could be thinking a little more deeply about these things.
Mm-hmm.
Because ultimately your values and beliefs have to align. Otherwise, you won't make the choices that you need to make.
Well, I think
or
that's
develop
kind
the
of
habits.
what Mark is talking about, is that there may be people that, or I think that probably is true for a lot of people. Okay, so remember, you guys know those weird psychology tests that you have to take sometimes. Sometimes it's online because you just want to figure out what kind of potato you are. But
what kind of potato you are?
Those random quizzes, like, you might know what kind of potato you are, and then they'll give you questions, and you're like, I agree with this or I don't.
Okay.
So are you mashed? Are you roasted? Are you baked? Are you French fries?
I think I missed that test.
French fries. Anyway, see, this is one of those things where he's demonstrating growth by not being like, what the heck? So
Well, you know what? I think people enjoy your strange sense of humor. And
see, Mark's the green Power Ranger. He knows what I'm talking about. Mark, William is the red Power Ranger, and he saw your Power Ranger post that you posted on the money group or whatever with the green Power Ranger, and he was very interested. I'll just tell you, he was very interested.
I thought it was Spider-Man.
So he's also Spider-Man. Okay. He actually will take off one costume and be like, bye Power Ranger, I'm Spider-Man now, and then he'll put on Spider-Man. So, but the point that I was trying to make is that, and the more serious version of these tests are the ones that you take sometimes, when you're trying to identify for a career, there's career assessments to identify what career you'd be good at. Sometimes employers will give you these tests to kind of identify your personality type, which again, I think it's not 100% accurate, but these assessments can be valuable in some ways. But with those things, I think a lot of times we pick the thing that it'll say, my example was, I believe people are basically good, right? And the options will be agree, strongly agree, disagree, neutral. And so you feel I gotta pick the thing that, I really kind of feel this way. I think I feel this way, but I feel like I should pick this. Uh-huh. And so I think that sometimes when we're saying we don't always, we say what we believe is not always what we actually believe in practice. That can be an issue. So Mark says, if your beliefs don't align with your values, then it requires massive energy to create change, and when it happens, it's difficult to sustain. He also says he believes he has the same values as a 6-year-old. William's actually 4, just letting you know. He'll be 5 next month. Spider-Man's coming to his birthday if you want to come, Mark. Nice. Yeah, I think that a lot of times Mark's onto something here, where just it's important to take the time to recognize when you have made positive growth in your life, or you've experienced positive growth in your life. I think being intentional about identifying what your values are, clarifying your values, what actually are your beliefs, is not just what you say they are or what you think they should be, but how are you actually acting? Or what are you actually thinking? I think that's important, because
not just thinking, but doing.
Yeah, and thinking, because thinking is doing in some ways. You know, for example, if you think that you could never succeed, right? Like if you constantly are thinking that if that's your belief, I'll never be a successful person, then that's an issue, right? But you might not actually say that. I don't know. I think we all experience this on various levels. But taking the time
Dr.
to
Mark
pay
has a
attention is
comment
good.
here. There are different types of values, daily, foundational, and aspirational. Okay.
Oh, and then there's also a 2-for-1 value. There's also
That
a
sounds really
1995
interesting.
value.
Daily, foundational, and aspirational. Yeah, okay, I get that.
Inspirational? No, I don't know.
Aspirational.
All right. Well, this sounds like it would be great for maybe another segment to be totally identified to values. And I know you talk about virtues, which you say are not the same as values, but maybe similar.
Well, in some cases they're similar. Values tend to be more cultural, more consistent with the culture that you identify with, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Virtues, on the other hand, are universal. I mean, caring is caring regardless of what your culture says about caring.
So that may be, again, why some people would say their values are one thing, but they're actually another, because it's a cultural thing. So you feel kind of pressure culturally to like accept a certain idea or belief. But yeah. Cool. So maybe we can talk about this more later, because I think that is important. We're kind of running out, or we have run out of time, as we are typically doing in this segment. But I do, want to say that if anybody has some growth they'd like to celebrate with us and tell us about something exciting, even if it's a little bitty thing, like, I think we both shared like kind of smaller examples of things, and maybe it's a big thing. Share that with us. Whether if you're watching on the replay, give us a hashtag replay. If you're interested in having your name on the screen behind us, becoming a Greencow sponsor, give us a hashtag sponsor or click the link to talk with us more about that. And if you got more questions about this stuff, we talk about mindset, business, and career. If you want to talk to us about your career, your business, and mindset things, click the link and we can talk to you about it.
Okay, well, that's great. I think that's all for today. Excuse me. And it's a beautiful day and warm in Chicagoland.
And many of us have lots of candy, so what can make it better?
Okay. So go out there or not, stay in there and do something really nice for somebody.
Stay in there. Stay there. Mark, you stay there. Everybody else.
Go enjoy the sunshine.
I'm just kidding.
Be nice to people. Spread the light.
All right.
You know what to do. Okay, we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.